Thank you for coming. Welcome in the room for that first session about the OpenIO for HPC workloads. I'm happy to co-present the session with Jacques-Charles Lafoucrière from the CEA. Personally, I'm Jean-François Smigelski from OpenIO, CTO and founder since the very early days of the solution. The presentation will be about a new use case that we are introducing in the solution, making it fast enough to be able to attack that kind of workloads that are unusing for us. And we're happy to present the analysis by the CEA, then what kind of reaction has to be expected from OpenIO to be able to attack that kind of topic. So I pass the mic to Jacques-Charles, and please enjoy.
Thank you. So hello, everybody. So I will first try to make a very, very short summary of HPC workload. So short presentation of CEA. CEA is a large computing center, has a large computing center in France. Our goal is not to be a computing center, but mission of CEA is research in general. And we manage one of the biggest computing centers of Europe, in Europe. And so we are, as you know, interested by object storage. So what is HPC storage today? So our main issue is that the devices themselves are not fast enough for us. If we could work with a single big device and do everything over it, we will be very happy. But it's not really the case. So what we do is that we use what we found on the market and we put thousands of them in parallel to get the bandwidth and the capacity we need. And to do that, we need a little bit of software. And this is what we call today parallel file systems. So most of them we use in HPC Center are Lustre and GPFS. So Lustre, it's an open source file system, now developed mainly by DDN, and GPFS, it's a parallel file system from IBM, which is not open source. So the characteristic of this file system is that they implement the POSIX semantics, and they use a tree-based namespace. So POSIX semantics, open, read, write, close, and tree-based, it's a tree, so it's a classical way to arrange files. And the last evolution in this world is the arrival of appliance model. So now, before we use a standard PC with disk RAID controllers, and now we are able to use appliance, so a single box, which is it's almost a standard PC with disk inside, but it's totally integrated, and it runs the software of the server inside the RAID controller. So for us, as we are installing very large configuration, it's very interesting because we only put boxes, put the software in virtual machine inside, and we can deploy thousands of such configuration very quickly. So a short summary of the architecture we have today. So just to give an idea, an HPC computing center, it's multiple thousands or tens of thousands of compute nodes. Today it's a GPU or Xeon processor servers working all together to do the same thing. The goal is to have all these processors working together for a single goal. And they use a very high-speed network. So today it's Ethernet or InfiniBand. And they talk to I/O servers, so now RAID controllers, which manage the data and the metadata over RAID controllers. Just to give an idea, classical computing centers, we have between 20,000 or 30,000 disk drive in our computing centers. So the next evolution we have, it's a kind of buzzword in HPC, it's exascale. So it's a next challenge. And in this time frame, to get this performance, the solution we all work on is to increase the parallelism. So we know that the technology will not be faster. You see it in a single laptop. The laptop is not faster. There is many and many cores in a PC today. So the only solution we have today to increase the computing power is to increase the parallelism. And the risk is that this parallel file system may not scale. Because the POSIX semantics, it's very interesting for end user, but it's very hard to make it scale, especially if you want to keep the coherency. And at the end, when you have a data set which is composed of thousands of files, a tree-based organization is very difficult to manage. When you are a human with a single, for example, a file browser or something like that, you cannot manage hundreds or thousands of files. So to simplify this usage, we use middleware layers to remove this POSIX dependency and to help file system to migrate to new solution. So we implement middleware layers over POSIX. And as we will see, that will help us for the future. So our analysis for the future. Today, when you look at the market, the storage device evolution is driven by cloud, not by HPC. It's not good for us, but we have to adapt. And what is the cloud? It's a object storage semantics. So no more open, read, write, to go everywhere and read what you need. It's put, get, delete, and mainly write only. You write one time and you read many times, but you do not modify the object. And these object stores are designed to scale very higher level than one needed by HPC. In terms not of performance, but in terms of number of components. And if we use this middleware layer, we can hide this POSIX, we can move from POSIX semantics to object store semantics without changing the code. Because you cannot change when you have an application that is developed and that will stay for 20 years over a computing center. You cannot say to the developer, okay, you have to change every 5 years all your software because there is a new technology. And today, one of the limits of the object storage technology is that it does not use what we call RDMA. That's a fast way to use a network without, you can go to the full speed to the network without the cost on the CPU. And as we want to use our CPU for computation, we do not want to use them to move data between the nodes. And today, the object storage is scaling very well in number of components, but not in the bandwidth of the components. If we want to go to full speed to the network, you use TCP IP, and TCP IP is not very efficient on the CPU side. So we want to help to have this object storage moving to RDMA technology. And also, they need to improve their access, their concurrent access, because in HPC, what we do is that we are doing parallelism, but over the same data set. And we want to have every process, every task, accessing the few part of the data set. So a concurrent access to an object, which is not the case in the object store model today. It's more designed for throughput than for parallelism or concurrency on a few number of objects. And also, the last point that we like, and OpenIO is doing it, is that we want to keep this model of appliance. So you put the box, power on, and it works, and you have everything. So that's what we need, and now Jean-François will say what he is doing.
So you still have one slide if you want.
One more. That's a summary, but I think we are...
No, we are good. Excellent. It's always difficult to organize a duet. So what about OpenIO SDS? How can we answer to that kind of analysis and demands from a specific use case that we were maybe not ready to manage since the origins? So how I understand this, and I maybe take this too personally because I designed the solution since the beginning. Okay, we designed an object storage, a pure player that made all the kind of accesses that are not the most useful for the object store. That's it. We did. We designed it to scale large, especially on the number of containers, and too bad, HPC would prefer scaling large in terms of concurrent access to a small set of files of contents on the object store. That's it. That's just a design trait that we have that is probably necessary to orient differently. The writing concurrency, because of the container, of the design of the solution, is maybe not the best for the HPC use case, But hopefully, few traits in the solution will help us to manage the transformation. We do not access to the data through gateways, no proxies on the data. We access directly from an SDK that encompasses quite a large part of the logic. And we made it to be flexible thanks to a notion that is everywhere in the solution of indirection, using directories instead of algorithm that will help us to plug different backend, specific connectors and specific network protocol if necessary, so that it should not be a problem. So we designed it to make it flexible, simple. I prefer simple more than smart because I personally aggregate flexibility and smartness all together. But we thought it was fast. HPC says, not enough. But that's a different goal, a different way, a different use case, and we have all the keys to achieve. In my opinion, through two characteristics of the solution, simple, and I prefer saying lean and efficiency. How will it come? The efficiency from the flexibility. What we call the flexibility is the dual job of the conscience and the directory in the solution. This is what we choose the best since the beginning. What made us able to never rebalance the data mandatorily at the moment where you can choose when you do the rebalancing administration and repair operation, when you are available, when you are ready to do it, not when the algorithm tells you have to do. Because of indirection everywhere, we can plug backends. We already did it by the past. Currently, we use an HTTP-based backend that is well suitable for us, but maybe not because of the stack that is a little bit bloated for HPC use case. No problem with that. And what is important is because of those indirections, there won't be any big change in the solution, but only implement details. And we want to go further in that direction, continue to have more modularity, not only direction, even in the code, how it is organized itself. And especially because we do not want to target a new use case that will force us to abandon the others and to maintain different branches, one per use cases. The benefit we want at the end is to let the customer pick just the module it needs to fulfill the worst case he has. Let's pick high performance modules for the HPC, other use case for cloud. It should not change the API, the organization of the solution, just implementation details encompassed in modules. In my opinion, the efficiency must come through a lean simplicity. I mean, this is just by convenience that we do that. We should not be the bottleneck on top of the hardware. The analysis says that we need. It is difficult for Object Store to consume all the bandwidth that is available when you scale a platform. It is necessary for Object Store and OpenIO, as an example, to evolve in a way that won't be the bottleneck that will forbid you to use all that resource. Be thin enough and never be that bottleneck. It doesn't mean that we won't turn dumb. Simplicity and dumbness are not the same. I mean, if you can modularize your offer, you can encompass all the complexity and the sophistication into the module themselves. And for the customer that doesn't want that sophistication or complexity, just avoid the module but continue to use the same solution with the same API, the same form. The goal for the current customers, current prospects, and so is to transition smoothly. We have nothing to win to lose someone in the transition. I mean, so we will manage to migrate smoothly without breaking, disrupting things. And the goal is to abandon no one on the road again. The tail of the presentation is quite long. I think I won't go to the end, but I have a lot of improvement tracks to present to you by topics. If you have any question, this is maybe more technical content, do not hesitate to interrupt and ask for any precision. both flexibility and simplicity require a preliminary step that is currently running on the development side at OpenIO. Because we have no proxy and no mandatory gateway in the solution, we choose a strong SDK orientation where you directly access from the API, so from the application that use the data. But the problem, because it happens in companies, is that we developed free idiomatic APIs that do not wrap each other to provide all the features. This leads to an increase of entropy. Sometimes the difference in the features that are provided available in certain APIs, not in the others. So that what I call the necessary first step is that just tailoring a single API, wrapping it in other languages, so that we can focus on doing things the best way, efficiently streaming bytes, making it pluggable. That's where I talk about flexibility. Would it be filters to achieve the erasure coding, replication, ciphering, compression, caching on the fly, whatever. The backend itself, would it be persistent? The caches that you have filled, the managing asynchronism in the read-write operation, everything should be made pluggable and just install the one that you need, so that all the SDK can benefit exactly the same code base and have the same feature level increase, because not all the features are present at the moment. During the test that we made, we already noticed, because of that modularity, new capabilities that we were not able to have with the current solution. For example, the ability that we do not have in the current stable OpenIO SDS solution to say, I have two geographically distant sites. I want one erasure coded version on one site, one copy plain not erasure coding on the second site. And when you access a data from a site to another, you are able to manage the content the way it has been stored from the most local copy of the data. That's something that is not possible at the moment with the solution. With that simple reorganization, it becomes available from all the SDK nearly immediately. This is just a configuration capability that comes from there. So that's an immediate raise in terms of flexibility that comes at that time with a simplicity effort. The second part is improving the throughput. At the moment, we understood the message from the CA that our stack is bloated at the moment. The protocol is nice. We implemented it the obvious way, using the POSIX calls and the operating system stack, because that's easy. That's how any application at the moment on a cloud orientation will do the thing. So using complicated and verbose protocols at any level, applicative, transport, network, whatever, there's something to do, obviously. Reducing that CPU bandwidth ratio, Jacques-Charles explained that with the CPU necessary to cross the technical stack on the operating system side. I can even say exactly the same on the application side, where the stack itself is not empty at all. Serializing JSON or ASN1 basic encoding rules is not immediate. It's not instant. You need CPU to do that, and we can do better. We can do much better. So there is an effort behind the keyword of flexibility to provide other backends when they are possible, when they are available on the platform of the customer, and benefits from all the technologies that are present. For example, if you have InfiniBand connectivity, just use it. It will just be better, the result. So let's make it pluggable. And the RDMA technique, also, we heard the messages. The techniques themselves can be even applied at a different level in the solution. Would it be between the client and directly the appliance using high-level APIs, bypassing most of the stack of the operating system and the application? between the service and the device, between the client and the service with different protocol. I won't enter in the details at the moment. But this is the kind of technology that we are comparing at the moment, studying and evaluating the capability, the ability for OpenIO to include them as specific modules in the SDK. The second thing that will happen once you have improved the throughput of your solution is that you are mandatorily, we are not based on a static placement algorithm to place the data, but we rely on the conscience and the directory, and the conscience is a load balancer, mainly. The load balancing needs to be fast to react to the device that is fulfilling, and must mandatorily provide fairness when it load balance and choose the data locations. When the bandwidth is high, the risk of device filling and resonance and bottlenecks is so high that we will need to improve. And currently, the solution is based on a choice made at the creation of the object, regardless of the load when we will consume it and read it. And the load balancing is based on a decently recent, I forgot the double quote, view of the platform. I mean, in terms of seconds, when talking about tens of gigabits of bandwidth, a few seconds is already a lot in the capacity to fill a device. So the studies are also concomitant to the study with the throughput is how to manage that kind of load balancing to make it fair and fast. So many tracks to be studied here, working with more token. Instead of working on contents, work on the whole data set and to be able to make it concurrent the most when we will consume the data. Have a hint from the application that it will generate a specific data set and ensure we will balance it on the whole platform and avoid any collision of several content of the same data set stored on the same, lying on the same devices. So maybe is it necessary to rebalance the data before reading it and not after pushing it? That's another place. Another place of optimization. Maybe is it possible to mix load balancing with a technique that we did not like in the first place, I mean static placement. Whatever, but everything, this is just a piece of logic, this is modular, it can happen as a module in the SDK, this is where it happens in the code. So whatever the solution, several will be available for the different use cases that exist, and you will be able to pick just the one that you need. I mean. And the last point, because I think I'm quite in a hurry for the moment, we need to improve the right concurrency, not on the data side, but on the metadata, because it's never fast enough with the metadata when you consider an object store or whatever the storage. And currently, to be honest, we are not the best at concurrency into a single container. Why? Just because of the way we implemented synchronous replication between all the replicas of the container. The way it has been made is designed for many containers accessed concurrently, focusing on consistency and availability. So we choose a corner in the CAP theorem triangle between the consistency, accessibility, partition tolerance. We choose a way that is more, for historical reasons, associated to traditional database managers. That's it. And if we need to make it fast, this is easy to change. But currently this is strongly written in the solution itself, and we must daring re-architecturing this. I mean, we can do so much better. I talked about the triangle, the corners of the triangle. Two others exist. Should we use only one everywhere? I don't know. I mean, the study has to prove that. And even we talk about often 3-level directories in the solution. 3-level, that's fine, but I take the example of a single bucket use cases. Why should they need such a number of indirection in the solution? We should even make that configurable for the sake of simplicity and flexibility. Quickly said, maybe on a lower level, I talk about bloated protocols. The stack is huge. We have a lot of, even toward the directories, using RDMA techniques is not dedicated to only the data services. We can apply exactly the same kind of reflection of re-architecturing effort to the metadata services. I mean, it's time to dare, at least daring doing that, because we need to face a use case that is not common for us, and that's why I came to my last slide. We are at the end of a cycle in OpenIO. The first 3 years of the solution were based on features, proving that we are able to do good S3 on the feature level, good file system connectors also on the POSIX compliance level. But we made the solution to be flexible, simple, and fast. The features are okay, but it's time to make it fast again. That's my way to do it. And facing the HPC use case is this is the most performance demanding use case I know. And if we can have the three at the same time, honestly, we can become universal, because if you can choose the modules that you need just for every use case, this is the kind of solution that won't ever limitate. When you will come with your case, you will have all the tools, like a Swiss Army knife. Just pick the one that you need. You have fast connectivity in your data center, the modules are ready, and that's it. You need that kind of load balancing because you need certainty more than fairness, I don't know. The modules are ready, and that's it. The change is happening right now, and that's all for today for me.